In this video, I want to show you how you can quickly build a process grid for transacting many rows of data at one time. So here we have Agility Design Studio. I'm going to create a new project. And then once I'm in my project here, I'm going to do a new component, do a new process grid. And let's call this a production grid. All right, so there's lots of settings here, but we're not going to go into all those right now. A process grid is a grid of data where you define your data set, and then the first column of that grid typically automatically is a column of checkboxes. And then once you define it properly, each checked row will transact data based on whatever you tell it to transact. There's other ways to do it though. You can execute just the checked rows or execute all rows, which will hide the checkboxes. You can execute a current row on a field change, so you can make a process grid operate more like an Excel sheet kind of thing, or even when just the whole row changes. So there's a lot of ways you can execute on a process grid. But the first thing we need is a SQL statement. And we've already prepared that here just because we're not going to spend a whole lot of time teaching SQL in this video. So I went ahead and prepared one here. And you can see here the SQL statement is going to bring back production orders that are released where the completion quantity is still less than the planned quantity. So you can see we just got a small little data set here. So go back here and we're just going to paste it right into here. And if we want, we could add some filter fields. So if you wanted to, if we have a big data set and maybe we want to start off with filtering off of some field, like maybe if you have data based on a customer number or item category or something like that, you could do that. What we're going to do next here is put a button. So on this button here, we're going to make this button type a transaction. And let's just call this production. Call it whatever you want. And on the transaction definition, I'm going to come in here to the detail. So as I said, the process grid is a grid with the first column being checkboxes. And so the detail is going to be what you want actions to happen on each row that's checked. You can also do a header transaction to do some transactions before, like some pre-transactions before even looping through and going through all the checked rows. And same thing with the footer, like after you go through all the rows and transact everything, you might want to do some kind of follow-up transaction. This typically is where you might want to maybe print a document or something. So in the detail here, we're going to add a transaction. And we have lots of transactions, so this is the repository of all the transactions that we've put out to date, and we're always putting up new ones. But if I go out here to production, and I do production receipt post, the base entry is going to be off of the view. And the view, from the view, we're going to do the doc number, and then the warehouse will also come off the view, and that's going to be the warehouse in the SQL statement. And then the quantity is going to actually be our quantity remaining. So this is the planned quantity minus completion quantity, what we have left over to finish out. And then the posted doc number, this is a return value. So we'll return this back to a number value. And then the error, if there is an error, like maybe an order is not released, or anything else, some other validation might fail, you could put capture the error message and display it to the user. All right, so let's save this. Before that, just to point out, once I do that, I can add other transactions. I can add SQL scripts. I can do all kinds of things here and stack a bunch of different transactions together, and they'll all loop through in one transaction wrapper and be committed or rolled back all as one. Okay. All right, so now that we've created that production grid, you see here is the menu for Business 1. Let's go to Production, a new folder here. Call it WiSys. And let's just drag the production grid right to the WiSys folder. All right, and now we're going to go over to Business 1. And in order for this to show up, we need to actually come out of Business 1 and come back in. So we're just going to come back in, go in here and just re-log in to restart the add-on to acquire the new transaction in the menu. Okay, and so now that that's been loaded, we'll just go here to Production, and here's our new WiSys folder and the production grid. Okay, so we've got all these production orders in here. So we have 177 and 178 here. One's for 20 and one for 45. And before we do this, let me just take a look at the actual production orders here. So we have 178 here, and nothing's been produced, nothing's been issued on a back flush. If we go to 177, we've not produced anything on either one of these orders, but they're both released. So if we launch that production grid and choose 178 and 177 and just click production, okay, and then we'll just refresh the grid and they're gone. Now I could have refreshed that simply on the button. There's transaction properties. So when on the Design Studio, if I clicked on this one here, I'll go back and add, let's just change that real quick. On the button call itself to remove process rows. So we'll check that. And another thing is we might want to do a post-tricks failed message. So if something were to fail, I might want to put that error message out to show whatever failed. So we want to trap those things. All right, so again, let's go back to Business 1 and let's run it. And this time, let's just grab maybe this one and this one. And there you go, now they've been removed. All right, so let's go into Business 1 again real quick and check out 178. You can see we've issued all 45, and we go look at 177, and all 20 have been back flushed. And we can look at the relationship map here, and we can see the receipt from production and all the back flushes that happened. And that's it. Thanks for watching.